Hello everybody and welcome again to my garden cabin. Now I've just done a run on Zwift with GTN and Heather Fell, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to have a look at some shoes to see tell you what I think of the ASICS NOVABLAST. Now first of all, let's have a quick look at what we got here, like almost a dumping ground for fallen shoes really. So we've got some Next Percents which I got originally in a size which was probably a size too small for me. And then we've got Daisy guarding the biscuits as usual. Now we've got some of those black ones there. They are Adidas 4s. We've got some Adidas 1s originally, which I wore for a marathon 4 years ago now. We've got some Launch 5s, long since retired. So even some Ultra Boots. I've done a few treadmill runs on them. Some old Pegasus 35. I got a Nike ID and a Narrow. Some Nike Streets 4, which are the ultra minimalist shoes, some well-worn pair of Turbo 2s, some Turbo 1s, which are even more worn, and the original pair of 4%, plus a whole shed load of boxes of them, plus, of course, various screens from Zwift. Now then, so, when you've got so many shoes, what's the one thing you need to have? Well, obviously another pair. So, I was thinking, well, I'll try these NOVABLAST from ASICS. I've never had a pair of ASICS before. I always felt they were being a bit wide for me, and I think whenever I tried them, the 12 that they had was always too small. I think I used to be a 12 when I was younger. I think my feet have just expanded a bit, maybe collapsed arches, and now really need a 13. So I saw that the FOD runner, the Forest Dean runner Andy, was raving about them in his review, so I thought I'd give them a try. So I managed to pick up a pair. So I went for a bright green orange pair, as you can see, because it's the only orange pair I don't have on current rotation, because those Adios ones are a bit old. So I put it up against the Next Percent. So I've actually got a Next Percent on my feet. Now the reason I did that is because I think it's the one shoe that I've got is like nearest to the feeling of cushioning. And I've actually just done a little run on Zwift on the treadmill just to remind myself. Now the Next Percent is a bit more squidgy and it's a bit more of a racing shoe, because that's only 250 grams, and the NOVABLAST is about 338 in my UK 13 when I measured them. But that's not bad for a shoe which is like an everyday trainer. And I've done about 30 miles now in the NOVABLAST. I've done a long 10-mile easy run the other night when I could get out, and then when I was around. I've just done a sort of a moderately difficult interval session on Zwift with GTN. We were doing sort of minute off, minute on sort of type of thing. And I've also I did one Strava segment, and I've done some other little runs over trails, a bit of road. And I always find it's working quite well for me, actually. The only thing I would say, that they are quite wide. Now, if you look closely on my feet here, if Daisy would get out of the way, I've almost got the tongues touching. Now, if I try and bring in a picture of Andy, the FOD's runner's shoes, you'll maybe see the difference. But you can see that generally all my shoes, if you look around here, they've all got the tongues in quite together. I mean, those turbos there, not much in there between them, is there? And then I think when I initially got the original pair of 4%, I was worried that they just really were too wide, so I just brought them in almost so they were touching. Hello, so if I move back on top of my treadmill where I've got my webcam set up, so here's the side-on view of the left shoe in the NOVABLAST, and you've got this sort of flare at the end. It's quite a lot of material at the back there, which is quite nice when you're going slowly. You want a bit of extra cushioning on the heel. I think I'm a bit of a sort of a midfoot striker and toe-off runner. And the one thing I really appreciate about these NOVABLASTs is that there's so much more cushioning under the toes than there is in any other shoe other than Next Percent, which is the one reason why I've also wanted to introduce this shoe into this sort of little update on them. Because all the other shoes I've got, like the Turbo 2, the SL20, they're nice sort of fast, lightweight shoes that you can do for anything. But I do find when I toe off, there's not much under there, so I'm always feeling like I'm feeling the ground in them. Whereas these ones, I really did feel like there was a nice bit of cushioning. And then when I was running on the treadmill earlier, even when I was sort of bounding along at sort of 16, 17, 18 kph, or jogging along at 10 kph, they found equally as cushioned. Perhaps a bit heavy to do out and out sort of really hard runs or races in, but certainly for a shoe that is like an everyday trainer that you could just up the tempo a bit when you wanted to, I think these are really good. The only downside for me, as I said earlier, is just the fact that they are quite wide, so I've really had to pull the tongues in quite a lot. But having done that, then I've got them quite down to quite good lockdown. And I've used the double lace loop at the back, partly as much to actually take up some slack in the laces. Otherwise, pulling them so much, my laces would be kind of out there trying to catch Daisy. So if you actually look at the both this and the next percent, the actual sort of stack height does feel quite similar to me, and even to the fact that if I were to put them together, the width is pretty similar. Although the next percents do feel a lot narrower. I think it's because the whole material kind of wraps in, whereas this is a lot more bulky material. But yeah, I think for an everyday trainer, when you want to sort of you know, have the maximum cushioning, but still don't feel like you need a really heavy, slow shoe that you just feel like, you know, sometimes you equate a recovery shoe with something that's just so slow and heavy, it always makes you run slowly. And does that actually help in recovery if you're actually trying to battle with the shoe? So yeah, my first foray into ASICS, I'm reasonably pleased. Just as I said, it could do with a bit narrower, but I've got very narrow feet, and if it's narrow for me, then that means it's probably going to be too narrow for everybody else. So I hope you found that interesting, and I'll run this a bit more, and we'll give you an update in the future. So okay, see you in the next one. Bye.